Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Today we will be doing our K-12 skill group webinar, and today's focus is on CNC machinists. We have a wonderful guest speaker today from NOV, Prabhu. We'll go ahead and do introductions. So my name is Monica Magallanes. I am the Career and Education Outreach Specialist for Workforce Solutions Capital Area, and I serve Del Valle ISD and AISD. And we actually have another Career and Education Outreach Specialist, and she serves Pflugerville, Manor, and Elgin. So if you have a student that needs help with career options after high school, or if they need help with their resume or anything career related, just know that you have someone available from Workforce Solutions that can meet with your student, bringing guest speakers. We're here to help. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to Jessica Durson for her introduction.
Hi, good morning, all. Thank you for joining us. I am Jessica Durson. I'm the Director of Career Awareness and K-12 Partnerships, and we're really excited to highlight this career. It's a severe shortage career and growing career in the manufacturing industry. So glad to have you all here today. Monica, since we have some time and we have fewer guests, I think once we introduce our panelists, I think it would be great to hear from those that joined us today. So don't feel obligated to turn your video on, but once we get around to you, we'd love to hear who you are and the agency that you're with. And I am going to pass it over to our work-based learning coordinator, Zara.
Hi, let me turn my camera. Hi, I'm Zara. I'm the work-based learning coordinator at Workforce Solutions, here to work with you and get you more information on the high skill, high demand careers that are, within, Austin area, and how we can best support you and your students to, finding the perfect career pathway for them. I'm going to pass it to anyone else.
Well, I'll go ahead and jump in there. Good morning. My name is Joel Villa. I am the Business Solutions Consultant for Workforce Solutions Capital Area. So I deal all with the manufacturing side, skilled trades. So again, I'm very happy to be here and looking forward to the presentation. Thank you.
Prabhu, if you want to go. Oh.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Prabhu Ranganathan. As Jessica mentioned, I work for NOV as a focus factory manager. It's the equivalent of an operations manager, and I basically a mechanical engineer in background, and moved to NOV 3 years ago. I moved to Austin, new to Austin. So happy to be here. Thank you, Workforce Solutions, for having me here. I'm happy to share all the things that I've learned in my career so far.
Thank you. I think Kim, you wanted to go next.
Yeah, so my name is Kim Anderson. I am a school counselor at the local juvenile detention center, and so we've got some kids who have gone astray, and I think can really benefit from some of these wonderful career paths. And so that's why I'm here to learn about them, so I can pass all that information to our boys and girls.
And my name is Tara Gallagher. I work with Kim at Travis County Juvenile Detention Center and Leadership Center, and I work specifically with our special education students.
I guess I can go ahead. I'm Stephanie Mora. I'm with Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area, and I'm the partnership specialist for advanced manufacturing and skilled trades.
All right, last but not least, Colleen King.
Hi, everyone. My name is Colleen King. I am a coordinator for the high school career programs at Austin Community College, and one of my programs is the Advanced Manufacturing Academy.
So nice to have you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining in, everybody, this morning. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and get right into it. So just some virtual housekeeping rules. Please just mute yourself. I'm sure all of you guys know this already by now. Use the chat for any questions. Zara will be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to drop it on the chat and we will address it either during or towards the end when we have our questions portion. Cameras are optional. You do not have to turn them on. This presentation is being recorded and we will share this out to you at the end of the webinar. And you can also find it on our Climb the Ladder CTX website. So if you have any students interested in attending this webinar, but maybe they couldn't attend, you can definitely share it out. So it will be on our Climb the Ladder website and I believe also on our YouTube. So like Kim said, this webinar is intended for educators, counselors, and instructors, and our main goal is for you guys to attend these webinars and then pass on the information to your students. I know there's only 2 of us, our career and education outreach specialists, and we can't target all the schools and all the students all the time. We definitely try our best, but if you guys are able to get this information right here and then and get the most up-to-date information, it's very simple to just kind of pass it on to your students. So this is what these webinars are intended for. And again, just for you guys to get the most up-to-date information, to network with our representatives, with our guest speakers, and, you know, start developing your own connections. So if there's anything that you think would benefit your students later on in the future, this would be a great resource to look back or again, making those connections. So I will pass it on to Jessica Durson and she will talk a little bit more about our labor market data.
Thank you, Monica. Yes, so as part of my role at Workforce Solutions, I'm the internal labor market analyst. So part of that is just understanding our labor market in Austin metro area and really identifying these severe shortage careers, but also growing careers that are considered middle skill. So as a workforce board, we are highly motivated to identify job seekers who fit middle skill career pathways. So that is more than a high school diploma and less than a 4-year pathway, because we realize there's a lot of job openings there and a lot of opportunity for students, high school students, opportunity youth, even those who have been incarcerated previously, or even our adult job seekers, or underemployed job seekers. There's a lot of really great opportunities that don't require a 4-year degree. When we look at labor market data, sometimes it's really difficult to understand what you're looking at. So we have actually stolen this from another workforce board to really help you understand what you're looking at in the data. So when you're looking at labor market data, we use the acronym LESOG, L-E-S-O-G, and that identifies location, education, salary, openings, and growth. So when you're looking at location, you want to know, where do you want to live in this career pathway, and where does this job or this career live? For instance, if you wanted to be a marine biologist, most likely you're going to live on the coast somewhere. So you definitely, when you're looking at the data, where is this job located, and the highest concentration of this job in the US or even in the state. When you're looking at education, this is probably a given for most of y'all on the call, but you want to look at the education or training requirements. Now, some occupations we've learned maybe just require short on-the-job training, or even an apprenticeship program, which is a growing model that a lot of companies are now taking. Obviously, we want to know if it has the salary that we're looking for, if that salary meets our lifestyle. And then openings, how many jobs? Are there enough jobs in the local area for me to go to school, get training, and really have a successful career in the location that I desire? And then lastly, you want to look at growth. Is there a high number or a high percentage of growth projected in the next 10 years? You have to consider things like jobs that are going automated, or jobs that are no longer in the area or becoming obsolete. So those are trends you want to look at when you're looking at the data. So we'll go to the next slide. This is a Workforce Solutions career profile that we have created in our team. They're very colorful, dynamic, and has a lot of rich information that we created with the idea of students and job seekers wanting to get some information that will help them make an educated decision when it comes to planning their career pathway. So this is one on the machinist career. In the top left corner where the dark green boxes are, that's where you're going to see some of the annual wages, hourly wages, and then the education required. So for a machinist, it's either a high school diploma or on the job training. So Prabhu will go into a lot of the skills and what they look at NOV as an employer, kind of giving you all that to validate the data that we see here. This is all pulled from Bureau of Labor Statistics and online job postings. In the Austin MSA, we're projected to have over 2,000 machinists by 2031. So there's definitely a demand and a growing demand, especially as manufacturing begins to grow in our area. Below the growth, you're going to see some job duties. And I won't read through every single detail. Below that is how someone will thrive in the position. So your personality type. Are you someone who likes to solve problems? Do you like working with machines? Do you have attention to detail? Those are things to consider when you're speaking to students and job seekers about the careers that they're interested in. Each of these career profiles also have a little QR code at the bottom left where a student or an adult can scan. And it's like a 2 to 3 minute video, which we actually have in a coming slide that talks about the career pathway. Monica and I were talking about how ONET has so much rich information. And I think our job at Workforce Solutions is to package that information to where it's tangible and relatable to the students you work with. So without going into the rest of the details on this profile, we do have 100+ of these on our website. So I will link our website here once I'm done speaking. It's our Climb the Ladder website, and you can print these out and share them. When I was a career counselor, I would print these out, have them on my desk. So if a student, liked working with their hands, I would pull all the careers that were related to working with your hands. So definitely utilize these where you can, and we hope you use it as a tool. All right, I think the next slide is the video. So we'll go ahead and let y'all listen to this. It's 2 minutes or less, and it's about the machinist occupation.
To build everything from robots to automobiles, workshops
I just want to make sure that we're able to hear.
Yes.
and factories around the country rely on the handiwork of machinists and tool and die makers. Starting from blueprints, sketches, or computer-aided design files, they set up the machines that produce parts. Once products are made, they file and grind them to meet project specifications, giving them a final smoothing and polish to finish. Machinists run computer numerically controlled, or CNC machines, that produce precision metal parts and tools. They may produce a large number of one part, such as automobile pistons, or many small batches, like bone screws for medical implants, or even one-of-a-kind items. They need to be skilled with a wide range of machines and techniques. Tool makers craft precision tools for cutting and forming metal and create different gauges and other measuring devices. Die makers construct metal forms used to shape metal and make molds for shaping plastics, ceramics, and composite materials. Tool and die makers are trained to write CNC programs as well as operate the machines. Workers wear safety glasses, earplugs, and masks when needed to protect themselves during hazardous phases of their work. Schedules are generally full-time, with some shifts on evenings and weekends to keep production running around the clock. A high school diploma or equivalent is necessary, and skills in math and problem solving are important. Machinists may train in several different ways: on the job, apprenticeship, or at technical colleges. Becoming a tool or die maker takes several years of instruction and on-the-job training.
Short and sweet, and I just love the B-roll footage that they have as well. So they have tons, and then those are all on our career profiles. Lastly, and this is always changing with the labor market, these were wages from 2021, which was the soonest data available through our labor market tool, which is JobsEQ. And according to JobsEQ, entry-level wages are around $16.33 an hour. A median wage with experience, you're making about $24.38 an hour, and then more experienced machinists in the field are making around $29.41 an hour. And it's important always for me to share, each employer is different. Some may have more competitive wages, benefits, but this is what the labor market data has told us from 2021. my last slide here, and I know Prabhu is going to go into more details on the skills required. But based on, ONET and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are both soft skills and hard skills that are required for this career. Some of the soft skills are more human skills, is critical thinking, active listening, monitoring, assessing performance of yourself and other individuals, and complex problem solving. Hard skills include operate cutting equipment, grinding equipment, both metal or plastic forming equipment, sometimes even wood. We were talking about that with Prabhu yesterday, but it's mostly metal or plastic. And then inspect equipment, structures, or materials to identify the cause of errors or other problems or defects. So when I read this, I hear someone that loves solving problems, someone that loves working obviously with their hands, machinery, and has a strong attention to detail. So thank you all. That's a little bit of labor market data. If y'all have any questions, please put those in the chat. But for the sake of time, I'm going to pass it back to Monica.
All right, thank you. So next we will have our guest speaker share more about NOV and what it takes to be a CNC machinist. So Prabhu, let me pull up the PowerPoint and I will pass it on to you.
All right, thank you, Monica, and thank you, Jessica, for the overview. Before I get started, it's a small audience, so please feel free to stop me, ask questions and whatnot. So I just have a quick question. Have any of you, forgive me if it's a basic question, but have any of you been before to a machine shop or in a factory environment? Do you have any background, especially the educators that are on the audience today?
No, sir.
Okay. So generally I cater this towards the students. I'll format this. I'll use the same format. And as I said, please feel free to stop me and ask questions. I'm totally fine if it's an interactive session. Next slide, please, Monica. I'll start with a bit of a fun fact. The pictures you see here, obviously I got it from different sources. The very first picture is the first camera, apparently, and the one on the top right is the first picture ever took. And then if you come to the industrial side, Model T back in the days used to take 12 hours, and now it's approximately 90 minutes to make one from start to finish. And a laptop back in the 80s, a laptop like this in today's money would have costed $4,500. So it's amazing if you look at how far have we come in terms of technology. But the point I'm trying to stress here is Monica's next three slides, please. Yeah. So the general theme for us revolves around faster, better, and lower cost. When you come into manufacturing, it's no different than any other industry. And all companies are trying to do one of these things, be competitive, to get better products to our customers and whatnot. So that's the evolution. Next slide, please, Monica. And one more. Yeah. So I'll go over quick about NOV. I want to introduce as a manufacturing career what it takes to be a machinist, and then I'll just go over some of the expectations, what we expect, and then we'll go over questions that you might have. Next slide, please, Ron. So NOV Cedar Park, it's located in the north of Austin. We are a part of oil and gas industry. It's headquartered in Houston. We've been around for 40 years. And the things that I'm proud about NOV Cedar Park is we have a very good, excellent safety record. We are an air-conditioned facility and we have a competitive benefits package. And it's I'm showing that to show that we're competitive, and and most of the companies, I can say, if I have to pull myself out of NOV, most of the companies around Austin area more or less offer the similar benefits. So it's manufacturing has come a long way in terms of safety and delivering quality. So I'm proud to be part of such an organization. Next slide, please. We saw in the video, I'm getting into the machining process. Generally speaking, what we look at machining is what we call as something subtractive manufacturing. I say that because the current technology is also exploring heavily on the additive manufacturing. So if you've ever heard the term 3D printing, that's adding material to a substrate to make it into a form. In machining, we call it subtractive because we take a blank material and then cut it. Of course, cutting metal is not easy, and the CNC machinists and machining, and then the machining process is about different types of cutting. So next slide, please. So in the process itself, we categorize into two different types of machining process: manual machines and CNC machines. CNC stands for computerized numerically controlled. Manual machines are what we prefer for fresh off the fresh students to start, because it's equivalent of learning to drive or ride a bicycle before running a motorbike. I'll go into the details in a bit. And CNC machines are highly precise. The technology has been evolving for many decades, and it's automated, robotic, and some of the precision that it can meet is it can go up to 1/10 of a millimeter or even more. And in some cases, if you think about the engine block inside the pistons, they almost give a mirror finish, which is amazing when you consider that they're all done by cutting process. There are many different terms in CNC machines. It's milling, turning, drilling, facing, boring, etc. I won't get into details. You can Google them these days, but they're all different forms of metal cutting processes. Next slide, please. Talked about manual machining. What's industry term you will normally see people talking about Bridgeport. It's like calling Xerox. Although Xerox is a company, you refer to the photocopy. It's a Bridgeport. It's the same. In my opinion, it's such a version. If it's a manual machine, this is where you get started, and it gives a good idea and feel for what it takes to process a metal. This is what we generally recommend for when we come into an apprenticeship situation. And also in most of the companies use it for intricate non-high volume prototypes and similar products when they have to do one or two. And again, just because it's manual machine, that doesn't mean it's easy. You can spend many years and you can still be learning what and how this machine works and what you can do from it. Next slide, please. Then we get into the CNC machines. As the industry evolved and the technology evolved, obviously just like any other equipment, the computerized numerically controlled came about, and then it's pretty safe because it all happens in the enclosed area, as you can see in the picture. Once the metal cutting starts, usually the operator outside of the machine is shielded by the glass, and usually the safety mechanism is such that if somebody is trying to open the door, it'll stop automatically. So it's very safe, very high precision. Obviously, it's efficient because it takes the artwork out of it. When it comes to high volume, we always look for repeatability and reproducibility. And once we program the machine and we know the right tools to use, it can keep cranking out products after products every whatever the cycle time is. Has high degree of flexibility because you can control the program and control the tool movement based on the computer programs, and then once you prove it, you can keep going. So very much advantage for someone who looks to make many, especially in the high mix, but also in a low volume. High volume as well as low volume environment. Some of the challenges is upfront cost is high. So when you have to invest, anywhere between $100,000 to it can go up to in multiple $1 million depending on the configuration you're looking for. So the business has to justify purchasing such a machine. And obviously, when we purchase a machine, just like an airline industry, the airline industry wants to keep the plane up in the air as much as possible to generate revenue. There's a similar situation for us. We want to keep this machine running as much as possible to make business justification. So we usually, when we get a machine, we look for running 3 shifts before buying another machine. So it's more efficient to run 24/7 than buying 2 machines just to run for 1 day. The challenges is skilled operators, and Jessica was spot on when it said the one of the highly challenged skilled trade around Austin area for sure now is machinist, and we feel it. We are experiencing that, and we are coming up with innovative ways to attract talent as well as train the talent in house. And then obviously we always compete with low cost manufacturers, either in the North American region or outside of North American region. But in this case, in Austin generally, and also for NOV, because the products are so highly sophisticated products, very safety critical products, and also we make some of the heavier side metal products. It's not always efficient to make it somewhere else and bring it here. So that's a blessing in disguise, because we are able to keep the jobs here basically. So, but we have to make sure that our cost doesn't go up the roof, so that it doesn't make any more business justification. So it's always a challenge between finding the right balance between how efficient we are running and how much the product is costing. From an operator standpoint, it takes we have to train the employees, because we are taking someone in different experience level and putting them in front of a very expensive machine. And we have to factor in the human factor, make sure that it's safe around to operate, they know what they're doing. And we constantly look for ways on what could go wrong in terms of proactive risk analysis, both in terms of safety and quality, because we want the best outcome. And obviously we don't want anyone to get injured because they're running especially because they were not trained well. So next slide, please. One of the that's machining so far. I went through a super high level. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll go through a couple of other areas that we generally comes along, not just with machining, but also in manufacturing career. So it'll give a breadth of what a new employee or a trainee go through in a manufacturing facility. One of the critical items that we look for and we train for is the science of measurement. It's very critical that people who make the product know how to measure the product. If they don't, then they might as well not make it, because we run the risk of calling a good product bad and vice versa. So we do go through an extensive sampling based on the customer requirement. Next slide, please. Shows some of the examples of gauges in general that manufacturing industries use. And right from day one, you're also getting into the science of measurement. And a lot of times when we see, it's not uncommon for people who are fresh into the manufacturing career. They come and they look at it and they say, hey, you know what? I like quality. I like the quality function. I like quality inspection. I like to learn more and build in quality in the process. So they take a completely different career just in quality, and fast forward 30, 40 years, they are quality gurus. And that's a sub-career within the manufacturing itself. It's a very rewarding. There have been tons of literature and research out there just on the quality management system. So some people naturally get attracted towards and they go towards it, which we welcome, because we want diversity and we want to give opportunities for people to grow in their career. The next slide, please. So besides the quality, there is a function of shop floor management. So the big orange circle, it represents software, I guess, material requirements planning. So we call it, in our industry, we either call it ERP or MRP. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. It's the digital version of the transactions. Of course, every industry is used. It's almost every industry is not manual or paper. They're all digital. Manufacturing is not an exception, but we want people who understand this and who can interact with the computer as well as the machine. Doesn't have to be a software, IT software computer expert, but the basic interaction needs to be. They need to know. But this is not an issue, because almost all everyone in this generation, people who are growing up now, they are very, very versatile with computers. So we generally don't see this as a problem when it comes to skill development. Next slide, please. So another example, in interacting with the digital, this is a slide that shows, how different processes are run and how it's capping. We want people to understand this because, for example, the time they claim in a particular product or a particular process, let's say deburr process line number 3, it directly affects the cost of the product made. So we want somebody with that kind of understanding on, okay, what I'm doing is also impacting not just the quality, but also the cost. It's important to be efficient, and if you're not efficient, then you're going to eat into the profit margin and whatnot. So some basic understanding and interacting with the digital platform is critical for us. Next slide, please. And then another important aspects that I think I should put this up first is part of maybe being a machinist is really understanding how technical drawings are built and read. Again, this is a discipline that has been around for hundreds of years. It's evolving, and it's very critical for. And then you don't learn it in one day. It takes many years to perfect this, but we find whoever is curious in understanding the technical language of a product, they usually complement a very good machining competency skill. So it's critical for us to make sure that everyone is understanding this and learn from this. And in some really good cases, they get so good that they are down the line, the experienced machinists sit with design engineers, collaborating with them on a product design just based on the ease of manufacturability. But again, it takes a lot of time to get good at it. Next slide, please. So I want to go through I'll spend a minute here. This is just an example, much more official documents and whatnot. But from left to right is the evolution of a machinist over the career. And you can replace the machinist word here with welder or a fabricator, electrical assembler, general assembler. It won't change a whole lot because it's not, the progression is pretty much similar in almost all cases. So on the leftmost is the entry level. We either bring them as a saw operator, which is, I don't want to say simple because it has a lot of complexities to it, but a saw operator, which is a straightforward metal cutting, or an apprentice. And then machinist 1 is almost always someone who's work under a senior machinist, and they are taking very tactical directions on a day-to-day basis. They are not able to operate independently yet, but they have enough aptitude to run the machine, to help the senior person, and basically being a right-hand machinist. And very quick, not very quickly, but machinist 1 to 2 progression is almost always time-bound. So if we place them in one machine, they generally know how to run the machine, somewhat set up in a decent format, and then they become machinist 2. And then machinist 2 to 3 is where the progression starts to branch out. We see candidates who say, hey, I'm really liking this technical part, so I'm going to learn more and more machines, more programs, more tools. I'm going to get problem solving, troubleshooting. But they can also say, you know what, I'm a little bit inclined towards a leadership role. I want to own the area. I want to be an influencer without having the authority. Usually leads don't have direct reports. But I'm going to collaborate. I'm good with interacting with people, so I'm going to take the leadership path. So machinist 3 can go either ways. Same with machinist 4, except at that point we are looking for really good ownership and leadership when they want to become a lead. And when it's on the technical side, we usually look at people who can run many machines in that department. Many machines. What I mean by that is we have different brands of CNC machines. Some are, we call it DMG Morris or Okuma. These are all some trade brand names, but one is different from the other. Even though the concept is same, the things could, the interaction, human machine interaction, the panel, how they interact with the machine, the input controls and everything. It's like, trying to learn both A330 and 747. They both are planes, but they're different. They're made by different companies, and things are different. So they have to learn specific. So when we say machinist 4, they're generally good at multiple machines, setting up, running, troubleshooting, and whatnot. And then from machinist 4, then you can really become a technical leader, which means that you not only know machining, but programming, you can learn programming, not just learn programming, but also it's very critical for the programmer to know how the machine behaves. Otherwise, you're just writing a code and it becomes challenging. If a programmer comes without a machining background, we almost always don't allow that. Sorry, do you have a question? Okay, then they can also become a machinist 5 lead, a super lead, and eventually they also can become a shop supervisor. I'm not overseeing the machine shop in the last few weeks. My department changed, but the last before when I was overseeing the machine shop, our shop supervisor grew in the company. A very good machinist. He exactly went through this path of becoming machinist 1, 2, 3, and then at some point he was in the rightmost machinist 5, defined the shop and the lead. And then he recently got promoted last year to a shop supervisor, and he's doing an amazing job. There's a good progression, but what I always tell, there's a good progression, and what I always tell people is the progression depends on the individual. We as in our company is not going to bend over backwards to make sure that a machinist 3 becomes a machinist 4 and whatnot. We need a lot of pull. The dynamic environment, it's very busy, a lot of things going on. So you have to kind of pull the requirement, and if they work with us, we go through a very good career transition over a period of time. Next slide, please.
I see that Kim raised his hand.
Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't sure if you could see that. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to say, so the gentleman that you knew who progressed through all these steps, I was just wondering how long that took. Like, what's a career path?
Oh, great question. So he has been with the company for around 14, 15 years. And then it's not an indicator of that's how long it should take. For a long time, he was mastering the machine, but he wasn't quite sure about whether he wants to come into the leadership role or not. And then when things changed, business climate changed, there was a situation which arose, and we had a chat, and we evaluated. So the thing we found out was he was already being a very good lead, and with good coaching and mentorship, he can become a good supervisor. It doesn't have to take 15 years, but that's not too late. It's well within the normal time frame, I would say.
Thank you. And what was that salary level when you reached the running the shop level? That'll be my last question.
Yeah, so it's any other supervisor level. I don't know the industry range. Jessica may be able to help. But it's no different than it might be even more, because you're also bringing a technical prowess to the table. So it could be a good senior supervisor level.
Thank you.
All right, so almost end of the presentation. So I want to reiterate when it comes to manufacturing, safety is the first and foremost. We want everyone to be safe, and most. I mean, that's a given. It's stating the obvious, but it has to be stated. And then the 3 pillars of manufacturing is delivery, cost, and quality. We have to balance it out. We cannot be really good at one and real, so it's always a balance, but we have to be exceptional at least 2 out of 3 to stay competitive. And I'm not talking about just NOV in general. That's what my take on manufacturing is. Next slide, please. So if I make myself into a 18-year-old, I wish, but 18-year-old student again, and say what can I do? What do I need to get better at in terms of hard and soft skills? We in general in manufacturing, if you notice, I put the soft skills first. I think it's as important, if not more, than hard skills. We want someone who comes in with a commitment to safety, because I cannot emphasize enough on the amount of if you look at the pure physics from an energy standpoint, Generally, depending on the processes, we have ovens that runs at 800, 900 degrees Fahrenheit. We have mechanical draws that pulls with 2 or 3 metric tons of pressure. We have very sharp equipment running, or blade running at 6,000 RPM. So there is a lot of energy that is being operated within an equipment. And a lot of times we don't realize it until something goes wrong, and we don't want that. So a commitment to safety even before they put their step inside in a manufacturing facility, safety should be there foremost. And with safety, our organization is very proactive. We do job hazard analysis. We do safety observations. We have an extensive safety program and whatnot. But if the person is not committed to safety, they'll just think of it as a burden that impedes their job. But we want somebody who can commit to safety and live the safety values of a company. Definitely a positive attitude. We all have our challenges. Every company has their challenges, and we all have a job for the reason. So we don't want someone over time to become toxic, so to speak, and that only affects the engagement of so many other people. So that's very critical for us. Teamwork. No one person is hero for us. We are all collaborate. We solve problems together, come to a consensus. Integrity. It's very high. It should probably come after safety, I guess. But obviously, integrity is very critical for us because you're in an environment with many people, and the moment you are doing something wrong, then that doesn't go well. Attendance is critical for us. It's one thing that I would say it's often overlooked, and not the importance of that is often not realized until we have an attendance problem. So whatever it is, we encourage that, hey, you're in a work world, you're committing to something. Life happens. It's not that if you don't come one day, if something happens, then you're fine. We don't do that. So we work around it. Every company works around it. But when it gets to a situation that individual abuses the company policies on attendance, hey, I can take 5 times off in a year, so I'm going to make sure that I take 5 times, and even though I don't have to. If they abuse the attendance policy, then it becomes a problem. One of the most important things that we look for is following the procedures and processes. We are big proponents of follow the rules, follow the procedures before you're trying to change it. A fresh person, fresh set of eyes, we welcome. There are always ideas that we are all numb to it. We bring up good ideas and whatnot. But if it comes from a standpoint that I don't want to follow the current process, but let's implement a new process, then you're not respecting what is going on. And then dynamic environment, the equivalent of that is noisy. It's a big factory, a lot of people going around, forklifts going around. So it's definitely not a desk job in an AC room with continuous coffee availability. So that's something that people are, they get a little bit taken aback on how dynamic the environment is. I love it. That's why I'm in manufacturing, but not everyone's the same. From a hard skills standpoint, yes, we do have a requirement for high school diploma, and also if they can go through a school for certification in machining, that goes a long way. Because we don't have to invest in basic machining. We don't have the bandwidth to take somebody so green, and then we do in certain cases, but generally speaking, if they have a certification, that goes a long way. And then glad to see some the ACC and TSTC here. They do a good job in getting that. ACC started an apprenticeship program recently, and TSTC is a very good technical program for machining. Certification in machining. We want individuals who are generally mechanically aptitude, curiosity about how physical systems work, and then some math, physics, and metallurgy skills. Again, we're not looking for PhD in metallurgy, but basic understanding of how things flow. Some machine drawing and computer skills. If we can check these boxes or most of the boxes, then they're a pretty good candidate for them to come on. And mostly, I want to emphasize, most of the training happens on the job. You don't read your way to become a good machinist. You work your way to become a good machinist. But also that 10-20% of having a good teacher, mentor, guru to show you the ropes in the first few days, that goes a long way for the rest of your life. So we encourage students to take certification seriously. Some of amazing teachers, we've met all of them, or most of them, I should say. And if they can absorb what they are teaching and then come into the work world, they're sky is the limit for them. That almost brings to the end of my presentation. And any questions so far?
Well, yeah, I have a, thank you for that presentation. What are the physical requirements? Is this something that you need to be, strong or big to be able to do?
The good question. Generally speaking, we say able to lift, I think 25 or 50 pounds, I have to check, but it's not, it's within the normal operating human range. It just, if there's anything heavy lifting or any sort, we usually use mechanical lifting. But from a physical standpoint, the main thing is they have to be on their feet for 8 to 10 hours, even 12 hours in some cases, able to move around, reach over under the machine, and able to lift some specific, I mean, again, I don't quote me on the number, but within a reasonable limit amount of weight. So that's generally the physical requirements.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Prabhu? We have our own questions, but we just want to prioritize if there's anybody in the audience that has questions or that had any questions throughout the presentations. Feel free to put it on the chat, unmute yourself, raise your hand. All right, so we'll get started with our questions for Prabhu. So thank you so much for the information, by the way. It was really great to see like all the different steps and the career pathways to be a CNC machinist. Our first question is, how can students prepare in high school to get started in this career? So what can they start doing now if they want to pursue a career at NOV or they want to just pursue a career as a CNC machinist?
Oh, yeah, great question. So I have to start with a thank you note for all of you in the audience. You're all bringing the community together to give exposure to students. So it's an admirable job. So thank you for that. Being a high school student, the best thing I would say is getting exposure. So obviously in schools and when you expose, you can pick out who's interested in that. And if they're interested, they can reach out to local community leaders or such as people like yourselves and, hey, I want to learn more, and connect them with the mentor. That's a great way to start. And LinkedIn is a huge social media platform. They can go to LinkedIn and they can search for local machinists. And a lot of people would love to share their experience, especially if there's a hungry student who wants to learn more. 9 out of 10 people, I think almost 10 out of 10 will say, yep, I'm happy to help because, they want to give back and whatnot, like I'm doing right now. And then the other general thing I would say is some companies do a community tour. So if there's a local manufacturing company that advertises, hey, you for one day we're going to open up for general public to tour. That's a good way to get exposure. Or even cold calling. You can reach out to local companies and say, hey, can I come visit? Or do you have some programs? Can I come see? So a lot of companies will entertain that.
Thank you. And you kind of went into the second questions, but are there any programs available outside of school that students can utilize to start their career? Anything that they can do over the summer, anything that ACC offers of your knowledge?
No, I mean, we have someone from ACC here, so they might be able to know. But generally speaking, what I would do, or I would encourage the students to do is, the schools around the area are a great resource. Nobody will stop them from learning more. And I personally prefer face-to-face interaction. I learn better if there's a human in front of me and telling me information. So if you go to school administrator, or if let's go to ACC graduate program or advanced manufacturing advocate, I want to set up a time and I want to learn more about the machinist. I'm sure they'll be happy to show around and give them a tour of what we are all in the business. You're all in the business of educating people, so you're not going to stop somebody from learning more, right? So going to school would be a great going to school, as in schools like colleges like ACC and TSTC, set up a time And I don't know if you're talking about high schoolers, if they're less than 18, of course, with parents and whatnot, they can visit the school, they can ask about it, and then go find the advisor and spend some time and tour. They'll be happy to give. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but that's what I would say is a great way to connect to the program.
Yeah, and Colleen, I see you have your hand up if you want to touch base on that.
Yeah, and so kind of jumping off what Prabhu is saying for ACC, so we do have a few ways that students in high school can or start getting exposure and experience, but also even in middle school, we have some summer camps coming up this summer that explore different industries, high demand industries, and they focus on career readiness in those industries. And one of them is advanced manufacturing. So in the summer, we have a program, a summer camp for AISD students in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing. And so they'll explore, the soft skills and hard skills they'll need to succeed in a career in advanced manufacturing. And then they'll also get tours of not only the ACC facilities, but we're also going to be taking a field trip to the Samsung semiconductor facility. So they're really going to be getting in middle school kind of that, oh, what is this field? Is this something I'm interested in? So that then in high school, if they're interested in earning some sort of certification, we do offer certification programs, level 1 certification programs for advanced manufacturing for high schoolers through our Career Academy programs, and for certain high schools through our Pathways in Technology or P-Tech programs. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll pop my email in the chat. Yeah, just to kind of bounce off of what Prabhu was saying.
Thank you for that. That sounds like an amazing opportunity for middle school students. And I think I participated in that last summer, and sometimes the middle school students get overlooked a little bit. So I think that's great. And again, this is why I love these webinars, because we have representatives from ACC and AISD, and you guys are able to collaborate and let us know about these amazing opportunities. So thank you. Prabhu, last question is, can you speak more on your career journey and how you got to the position that you are at now? I know you kind of went over it with us yesterday, and I think it was a really great example of kind of starting at the beginning and then moving your way up. So really making a career out of it.
Yeah, so first of all, I wanted to be in manufacturing from a very young age. I grew up in a city which is predominantly industrial, so it was exciting for me. I wouldn't change anything if I could go back. I started out as I'm a degreed mechanical engineer, and then I did my graduate program in manufacturing engineering. So I started as a product engineer in an automotive company, spent a few years there, and then I moved on to a semiconductor industry, spent some time as a process/manufacturing engineer. I moved on to a project management role, oversaw factory moves across international locations and whatnot. Then after that, I first foray into a leadership role. I think it was 9 years into the career, and started as a continuous improvement manager. Then after spending a couple of years at least, moved on to a frontline management role for a few years, and then I became an engineering manager. That's when I moved to Austin. By this time, I had experience in automotive, semiconductor, biopharma, and industrial equipment. So kind of varied experience in different industries. And then when I came to Austin, I started with NOV as a manufacturing engineering manager. Then I moved on to as a manufacturing manager. I look forward to grow further in the manufacturing and contribute more. But in general, the turning point for me, I would say, is the starting point for leadership is understanding self, my strengths and weaknesses, and then able to work with other people and utilizing the strengths and bringing the team together. It's a lifelong journey. I'm still learning. So, but I'm happy to be in this industry and career.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, again, I think it's a great example of you can kind of go different pathways with this career. You can, start it out as a CNC machinist 1, you can get a couple certifications, or you can go straight into a 4-year college and eventually move towards that industry. So I think there's a lot of flexibility, which is very important to let students know that you can really go different ways in whatever caters to them.
Yep. And I just sent my contact information in the chat. Feel free to hit me up. I'm happy to answer and spend time in any way I can to help you all or helping the community. So that's my tiny bit piece that I can do give back. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, that ends our portion with Prabhu. Is there any other last minute questions from the audience before we start wrapping up? And again, like Prabhu said, feel free to contact him if you have any questions. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. This will be on our Climb the Ladder CTX website. So if you need to look back on it, it will be available and we will send this out to you as well. All right, so just to wrap things up, which we are doing great on time. I know Jessica put in a link to the career profiles, but they are also here. They can be found on our Climb the Ladder CTX website. Again, access to 100+ different career profiles ranging from healthcare, education, information technology, skilled trades. So if you have a student that does not want to be a CNC machinist, maybe they want to be a phlebotomist, we have a career profile for that, and as well as hundreds more. Again, I am the career and education outreach specialist, so I am actively in the school. So if you have a student that would like to speak with me or you want to make an appointment with me, you can also make it through our Climb the Ladder CTX website, or you can just email me or email the K-12 awareness email address, which I will have towards the end of the slide. So our upcoming webinar has actually been canceled. It was going to be on April 4th, and we were going to cover the electrician occupation. So if you registered for that, just keep in mind it has been canceled. Instead, we ask that you attend the Austin Electrical Training Alliance open house. This event will be on April 6th, so that same week, and it's going to be at 9 a.m. So it is in person. But I think will be a great opportunity to bring your students, or if you want to go on your own just to learn more information and again, learn more information on the electrical industry. So here's the flyer for it. Looks like you can RSVP to the email address over here. Along with the video, I will include flyers that I provided here. So either you can take a screenshot, you can take a picture of this, or just wait until we email you. I will include this flyer. Some other upcoming events is the Metroplex Career Rally. This will be actually this week, but we still have a couple of spots open for March 23rd. And Jessica, if you're still on the call, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a couple of spots open for this Thursday. This is for students to come and meet with local union representatives to learn about the apprenticeship programs. And it will be from 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. So you can use the QR code to register for the 23rd date. The March 22nd, which is tomorrow, it has been filled. And again, I will be providing these flyers as well, but if you want to take a picture of it, screenshot it. And then we have Team Development Day. We are collaborating with YMCA Austin. And this is a day for students to come to the YMCA Center and just kind of learn anything career prep ready. We will have resume workshops. Students will create a LinkedIn profile. Students will have their headshots taken. So kind of helping them prepare for either a summer job, or if they're graduating a senior, help them prepare to gaining a full-time job. And we will have different organizations there at the event just to kind of talk about what programs they have available and how students can qualify for. So you can scan for more information. But again, this is for students. It is during the school day. So kind of start planning the transportation and all of that. But I think it will be a great opportunity for students who are looking to work either, again, this summer or get a full-time job. All right, and here is our contact information. All of our social media is WFS Capital Area. Our email address is k-12awareness@wfscapitalarea.com. And our website is on here as well. And I think Jessica put it on the chat. But that is all we have for today. Thank you again, Prabhu, for your time and for all the information. We appreciate it so much. And thank you to everyone who attended today. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and join us on this amazing conversation. And I see, Joelle, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, it's more like also a little note to everybody. I'm not sure, and I'm sure this was included in there somewhere, but there's also the Make It movement that's coming up on April 13th for manufacturing and skilled trades and logistics. I put the registration page, which is also open for, of course, any job seekers that might be interested in, not job seekers, but also high school students and elementary students and, you know, even middle school, because it is a great job where employers, and we have quite a few already registered for the event. This would be a great time for them to get exposed to this great opportunity, and will be held at the North Center from 9 to 12. So this is a great opportunity for them. So visit the link, and please, if you have any questions, feel free to outreach any of us, and we're more than happy to pass that information on and get you some additional information. So thank you, Ms. Monica, for that, and I'll go ahead and turn the floor back over to you.
Yes, thank you. I completely missed that, and I also see Jessica put the registration links for the events I talked about, and as well as the email address for the Electrical Training Alliance open house. So that is available on the chat, but again, we will provide these flyers to you. And if you have any questions, just email us. But hopefully your students are able to attend these wonderful events. I know we're getting towards the end of the year. It's after spring break. We're kind of ready for the summer, but hopefully they're able to come out to these informational sessions to get a better idea of what career they want to do after high school. But that is all we have today. Any last minute questions? If not, then you're free to go.